Welcome, everybody, to the Making Awesome podcast, Season 3, Episode 30. This one's a little bit personal for me. Today marks 3 years since my back injury. For those that don't know, I have a bad back. I have a bilateral disc herniation, L4, L5, L5S1, with north of 6 millimeter herniations with marked nerve impingement. That means I have not the greatest amount of feeling in my legs anymore, and pretty much everything kind of sucks. I got back late last night from my trip to Austin, Texas, where we did scan the U.S. women's soccer team. Might be a video on that. I don't know. My entire second day out there, which was supposed to be a recovery day and then some filming, just went to the weeds. But we're going to talk about it. But for those that don't know, I'm injured. And the new people probably will have never noticed it. The old timers that have been here for a while absolutely know it. They've watched my hair grow for the past 3 years. And yeah, I've got reasonably long hair for, I guess, since August of 2020 is when I started growing my hair out. And the goal there was to shave my head when my back was fixed, but that's not going to happen. So we're just going to be shaving it at some point in the near future for the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation. It'll be a charity live stream. It's going to be a thing. Get subscribed or something. But yeah, speaking of, make sure to get subscribed, leave a like, all those things you're supposed to do. And if you are listening audio only, do make sure you come join us live because you don't get to join the conversation. We got some awesome people here hanging out. Mad Cat USA is here. Derek Cirillo, maybe, is here. Elizabeth Neiman, OMG Frankie is here. Ben Cox, Allison Ford. Thank you all for showing up, hanging out while we have this discussion because boy, howdy, does chronic pain just change the way that I look at things. So let's roll the clock back. April 9th of 2020. That's Easter weekend. Today is Easter, so for those that celebrate, cool. For those that don't, hey, whatever. Enjoy a day where everything's closed, I guess. Sure. I'm trying to get my camera set back properly. When I leave out of town, I always turn the camera toward the cat bed so I can log into my PC and check on the cat because she sleeps in here often. Gotta make sure the little baby's okay. She normally is, but gotta care about your cats. But yeah, April 9th of 2020. So that was a Friday. Right? It was either a Thursday or a Friday. I got injured technically on a Thursday, but only realized it on a Friday. So I was working a day job back then. It was quite literally my dream job. I was a makerspace director. I am perfectly qualified for this. And so this was well before we had a YouTube channel or anything like that. So nobody really knew me. Not that many people know me now, but it's whatever. So I had taken that job in September of 2019, started it in late October, early November of 2019, and by early April, my life was different and I couldn't do my job anymore. I was doing everything that we could. I mean, obviously, those were the dark times, if you will, the days of the human malware where the entire world was shut down and a lot of my work was able to be done from home. So I did a lot of my work from home. Even though I was injured, it was still possible for me to work from home. So, hey, do what you can. Because even if I was injured, I didn't want to admit it, right? I mean, I went to my doctor. I got all the tests and things done. But I needed my body to... I guess I didn't fully accept the fact that I was about to be going through a massive change in my life. So I was doing everything that I could to live as normal as possible. For those that don't know, prior to this, I used to do a lot of kayaking with Better Three Quarters. We did a lot of dancing. We danced at least once a week. And basically since then, none of that has occurred. I am now a typical kayak owner. They are sitting in my shed collecting dust. But that's not technically my fault. And dancing, I've only ever danced once. And for those that watched the video, the Printed Solid video, Retort Printed Solid, that was the first time that I really danced with Amber since everything happened. So, yeah, it's been a minute. But yeah, so I was enjoying my dream job. I was in charge of a makerspace where nothing had been built. They had the concrete walls up and that was it. I had 9,500 square feet, $500,000 budget to build out what would be my dream workshop, build a curriculum, and share it with the world, right? I mean, literally perfectly qualified for this job. I have the business background with the 2 degrees. I've got the maker background with this. And I'm a good presenter, so it makes me a good teacher. But I don't know. The lack of respect that teachers get these days, not so much from the kids, but from the parents of said kids, is just something I could not deal with and cannot deal with. So, and I was never looking for a job. To be clear, this job was offered to me kind of randomly. I was doing a nonprofit event. I was seated across the table from someone. We were just talking, and the guy's like, "Do you want a job?" I said, "Nope, got a business. I'm cool with it." He then tells me the salary range, and I tell him I will update and send over my resume. And that is literally, the rest is history for that, right? Little did I know that was the impetus that would kind of change the outlook of my life. To be clear, I miss that job. It was a lot of fun, and I wish that I could still do it. I can't. My body is not physically able to do it, so unfortunately, I'm not able to do that job anymore. But that was like my ideal place of work, right? This beautiful 9,500, I think is what it was, square foot space. I laser measured everything. I didn't have any LiDAR scanners back then, so I used laser measuring. I built the entire facility in Fusion 360 so that as we were purchasing machinery for it, I could figure out if they would fit where I wanted, and then how they could be brought into the building with the rigging team, right? Because odd things, right? In Florida, certain types of buildings can only have certain size of doors, and this meant that the exterior door for this building was the smallest door in the building. It had an 8-foot roll-up door, but the interior roll-up door was 10. But it means that the Haas VF2 Super Speed, which was the premier machinery, brand new Haas. Oh my gosh, it was a beautiful machine. I miss that machine dearly. Almost $70,000. It had half an inch worth of clearance to get in, and this rigging team threaded the needle like it was no big deal. It was one of the most interesting things I've ever seen, just to watch a professional team that is really good at threading needles with $70,000 pieces of string. Anyways, I'm just remembering those times, and those times were good, but there's a lot of dark days that come after it. I was doing my work. I don't really want to get into how it occurred. I am somewhat contractually obligated not to talk too much about that, so I don't want to, obviously. But I got injured, right? Let's just go with the fact that I got injured. And I felt a pop, but whatever. I had just turned 30. Your body makes weird noises when you turn 30. It's just, it's kind of a deal, right? As you get older, the old man noises start to happen. I'm like, all right, whatever. There was a little bit of pain, but it was nothing that immediately said, you're going to need to go to the hospital, right? It was like, okay, I can deal with this. I'm a little sore, whatever. We'll get through the day. The next morning, I woke up and could barely move. Trying to sit up, trying to stand, trying to do anything to get out of bed was one of the most painful experiences that I've ever been through. And I've done some really dumb things in my time, really just properly stupid things in my time. This was a different type of pain. I've broken bones, I've gotten stitches, I've hit my head on a multitude of things, including shutting my head in the trunk of a Jeep. That was 5 staples. That was an interesting evening, and a written prescription for Suck It Up Cupcake, which I have unfortunately somehow since then misplaced, but that's a shame. Nonetheless, this was a different type of pain. I've never dealt with this type of pain before. and it was nerve pain, where the pain is inside of you. You have no visible damage. There is no video of the Jeep trunk incident, Johnson. Okay, I'm going to set the stage for that one. It's late at night. I was getting home from a job that I was working at the time, and I was getting my tools out of the back, and I shut the lift gate of the Jeep, and I was 2 inches too far to the right, and just blammo. Just shut it right into the back of my skull. And if any of you ever had a head injury, they bleed like nobody's business. It was not fun. But there were no cameras at that time. God, that had to have been like 2015. It was a minute ago. It was not very recent. My father said that might have knocked some sense into me, but clearly it didn't, because I decided to start a YouTube channel because I make smart business decisions. But yeah, the next day I wake up and I can't really move. Right? Even trying to roll over in bed isn't working. I try to sit up. It isn't working. I am crying in pain. And, Amber, being the absolute doll she is, also happens to be an ICU nurse. And she clicks in to ICU nurse mode. And, immediately starts trying to assess what's going on. We know there's a back injury problem. We know something is wrong with my back. I got lucky. My doctor at the time, my GP, is a good friend. Was actually a client, then became my doctor. Which is kind of cool. But I had his personal cell phone number. So I called him. And he sent a voicemail, sent me a text saying, "Hey, is everything okay?" I said, "No, something is wrong with my back. I can't really move." He said, "All right, I'm going to get done with this and I'm going to call you." He calls me. We talk about it. He's like, "Dude, you messed up your back. I'm going to get you some muscle relaxers. That should get you into an urgent care. Just go do whatever you need to do. Go get the help that you need." I said, "Okay, can you make it so Amber can go get it?" He's like, "Yep, it's no problem. She can go get it. I'll send the prescription now. Go and have it." So, I mean, there you go. Like, huge value of that. So, Scott, if you're watching, thank you. I kind of owe you a lot for that. And I wish I could still see you, but my current insurance doesn't cover you. So, I'm sorry. I would like to still see you, but my current insurance says no. And you're not cheap. So, sorry, dude. We do have to get together at some point. I had to buy you dinner or something now that I can walk again. And thus kind of started my days of Gandalf. I had a walking stick from a client. We've had some odd clients in our days, and I had a client that made me a walking stick. I don't know why, but it's like, all right, cool, I'll keep it. Well, I had it laying around, and, we were all masking up back then, as you should still do, should you go on a plane flight and all that, but I'm not here to preach. Still negative to this day. As far as I'm aware, at least. But, so I had that. We were masked up, and, remember, March 16th is when the entire country just shut down. This is April 9th. We're 3 weeks after the entire world imploding, okay? And so we're going to these places, and they're basically telling me, if you don't need to be here, do not come here. The risk of you getting sick is so high. Do not come here. And I'm saying, I have to. It's now a workers' comp thing. I have to come here. They said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you, but you're risking a lot coming here." I said, "I'm risking getting sued, so I have to be here. I have to go to these meetings." So we get some MRIs, we get some CTs. Long story short, Stevie Wonder could see the damage. Nurse case manager doesn't see anything. I ask if they're Stevie Wonder. They ask me who Stevie Wonder is, and I slowly lose faith in humanity. Because honestly, come on, that's a damn good reference, and nobody got that. But I can look at the MRI and CTs and tell you, that ain't right. Actually, if you want to see, I'm fairly certain you can see all of that. Way back in the day, I did a live video of modeling my spine. I can't really tell the story as to why I did it, but I did it. And I think a lot of those MRI and CT images are there. I still have these. These are some of the X-ray images that were taken during my one of my injections. So these were taken during a spine injection, and they're probably upside down, but it doesn't really matter. If you see that little bend and the dot at the end of the bend, that is a needle injecting medicine into the disc of my spine. So these are my "It's a Boy" photos. I am not pregnant, although my stomach might tell you otherwise. I've had some damn good barbecue this weekend, and I want to go back just for the food. Pixar didn't happen, Ben Cox says. I mean, Ben, if you really want pics, go search for Glimpse of Grant on our YouTube channel. You can watch me get spine injections on our YouTube channel. And God bless Andrew, because he had to blur my ass for both of those. And if you are a Patreon member, I am fairly certain we have those uncensored. And yes, I did. I had one donut total, Chris. Get off of it. If you are in our Patreon Discord, which you can join for $10 a month via PayPal, YouTube, or Patreon, I try to share as much of my journey as I can. So things that definitely don't make it into videos, make it into the travel stuff Discord channel. So things like me walking down 6th Street in Austin, Texas, which is the Ybor city of Austin. It was fun. It was an interesting evening, but anyways, Ben Cox says, kidding. Actually, no, if you really want to go see it, you can. You're welcome to. In one of those, I meet Uncle Jesse. We don't get any video with him because neither of us thought of it, but you know, whatever. Mardini says, old ages of 2015 when no cameras existed. Aloha, brother. Well, I didn't have any security cameras, so, and I didn't take any pictures, right? I was worried about bleeding out, not, you know, not getting photos of it. So John Stern says, I've injured my back before and had sciatica. It was from when carrying camera equipment around Coachella. All right, there's a story there. I had a heavy backpack that I was throwing over one shoulder. It's not funny. It's not. And prior to going through chronic pain, I had never understood, like, oh, okay, your back hurts. Congratulations, right? What do you want, a medal? My God, I was an asshole for even thinking that. This level of pain is not one that I can really understand and describe to you guys. The best way to describe this type of pain is, imagine just stepping on a Lego constantly. It hurts the first couple of times you do it, and the first couple of times it happens, but eventually it just becomes a dull, constant, throbbing pain. That's how it was. Lightspeed is saying, shots in the back make me feel shaky, gives me the chills. Well, better than shots through the heart, and you're to blame. Darling, you give love a bad name. Oh, yeah, see, I don't have a topic today, so we're just going for it, right? We're having fun. Because I have to make fun of this injury, realistically, because otherwise it really does depress the ever-loving hell out of me to watch how my life has changed since then, to watch how my body has changed since then, to watch how kind of everything has changed. Shots in the heart. Well, that is a thing. I believe that's a thing. Giving adrenaline straight to the heart. I could be wrong. Amber needs to be in this podcast. That would have been a fun one, but no dice, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, people love the jokes here. Look, if you didn't come for crappy musical humor, then I don't know why you're here, because, like, that's 95% of the channel, you know? But yeah, those shots in my back were some of the most painful things I went through. So the first one was at the site. So that was done kind of right at the small of my back, a little bit above your waistline, basically. And they put needles in and they go to it. All the ones after that were called caudal injections, which are done kind of at the top of your butt crack. That is so much better. You have basically no nerve endings there. At the end of it, they stopped numbing me because they needed more needles to numb me than they did to just do the job. So the doctor's like, I'm just going to do it without numbing you. You don't like needles. If I'm going to prick you, I might as well just do it once or twice than 6 times. And I'm like, you know, I can't really argue with that logic. But the caudal injections are interesting because they can go through a gap and get to the disc. It's really interesting how it's done. And there is one final video. There is one video that has never been released. The week that we shave my head, we will release that video so you guys get to see it. But it is me pranking my doctor. He requested it. He said, this is your last injection. When you come back, let's do something fun. We both know it's not going to work. You have to get it done to get to that next step, which was we were looking at surgery. Go ahead and prank me. So I won't ruin what we did, but it was a lot of fun. And the reactions are beautiful. And you will have to remember, I'll have to set the stage for it because the timing of it is very interesting. And if you look at the jokes in 2023 or 2024, they don't make any sense. But in 2020, they made a ton of sense. Anyways. So I get a muscle relaxer. I'm able to go to this, urgent care. And at that point, I went in, I signed the paperwork. Workers' comp is now involved. Because a lot of us were working from home at the time, because realistically it wasn't required for us to be there, I was still really able to do my job, right? Got my PC here. I'm able to work from home, make phone calls, negotiate contracts, get machinery in, work on the CAD model that I had made before the injury happened, so I know where things can fit. This is the value of putting in that time. I remember that my boss was really questioning the amount of time that I was taking on this, and I said, look, I believe this is valuable, and if you don't believe we get use out of it, I've logged all my hours that it's taken me to do this. I will happily put those hours in later for no cost, right? Because I'm looking at this as a business. They need to see a return on investment on me, or it's not a good financial investment for them. And a business is all about making money. Now, this is a nonprofit that I was working for, so technically they're not there to make money, but you know how it goes, right? There's money to be made, you reinvest it, and that's it. So, yeah, that CAD model was pivotal into setting things up. So when machinery got delivered, I could go down with my cane, walking stick. Sometimes I was without it, depending on how I was feeling that day, and oversee them placing machinery in. It was pretty simple. It worked. And then the days where I wasn't needed, I stayed at home, just like everybody else did. So it worked, right? Well, then it stopped working. I started to degrade rapidly. There were some days where I was okay. There were some days where I wasn't. And I don't necessarily know when the degradation happened. Because it feels like it was overnight, but I'm certain it was just like, a period of time where my health went from kind of around, if this is baseline, I was below base. But then it started to really drop. And things started to get bad, right? I couldn't walk well. I would look like a drunkard when I was out in public. And because I'm in my 30s, I've got an ego that has a problem still to this day. And I didn't want to use a cane because, let's be real, I'm wearing a mask. I'm using a cane. It's not a good look. And I don't know. Maybe it was an ego thing. Maybe I just didn't want to believe that I was injured, so I was trying to do it, but I would randomly fall from time to time. I would stumble because I couldn't feel my feet, right? And especially through shoes. Right? Think of how much shoes really remove your ability to feel the ground. So eventually we find out that I had 30% feeling in my left leg and about 70 in my right. Now, this is from an EMG nerve test. We'll get into that in a bit because that was not fun. But that was later on in it. So I'm walking around. We're going grocery shopping and all that. But every now and then, my legs just give out. And I never did master the Jean-Claude Van Damme action roll because otherwise that would have looked really cool. So I'm not graceful. Whoever thought? John Stern says 30 plus 70 equals 100, right? Yeah, basically. Duff says, I thought you normally look like a drunkard. I've actually never been drunk in my life. There's a fun fact for you. Never been drunk in my life. Johnson says the worst thing I've had is getting brain freeze, like head pains every 5 minutes. After a few weeks, it went away, but I still don't know what it was. I couldn't have lived with that. Did you get a spinal tap when right before all of that happened? Because that's what happened to me with my headaches, was when I had the spinal tap. Elizabeth Neiman says, as someone who hates shoes but still has to wear them, I totally agree. I live in Florida, land of random needles on the ground and glass and alligators and Florida man and meth. So no, I will wear shoes. I will wear socks, and my socks will match. Those of you that don't take time to match your socks, you're heathens. I don't like walking around barefoot. We have fire ants, and fire ants suck. And then we have mosquitoes, and I don't want my feet to itch. And as much as Amber and I call it the good cream, what the hell is it? The anti-itch cream works. I don't want to just slather myself in it, right? I feel like showers in Florida should have an injection system that just aerosolizes antihistamine cream so that when you go take a shower, the last thing you do is just get a nice misting of antihistamine cream so you're not, you're not itching all the time. So, yeah. Mad Cat says, ego in your 30s is a way of becoming humility in your 50s. Well, it's unfortunately become humility in my mid-30s. Now I'm 33. So, anyways. There was a lot. And the first doctor visit that we had for an injection, I go in, I'm getting prepped. They're like, okay, we're here to do a facet injection. I said, no, you're not here to do a facet. I'm here for an epidural steroid injection. They said, nope. I got on the list, facet injection. I said, nope, we're not doing that. I agreed to an epidural steroid injection, not a facet injection. I don't even know what facet injection is. And the guy says, okay. He said, do you have any proof of that? I said, yeah, actually, here's my prescription that shows it. He said, well, that's interesting. Let me make some calls. And he makes some calls. He said, well, I'm getting mixed results. So your thing, which you brought to me, says epidural steroid injection. So that's what we're going to do. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you decide that you're going to record every single one of your encounters with doctors ever since that day. Got the ESI. I guess they're not all that different, to be honest. Now that I've kind of learned more about it, it's just how they're applied and what medicine is applied. So I've had 5 epidurals. The first one is the only one that we didn't record. We have the other 4, but one of them we've opted not to post just because it's not one that we needed to post. And I hadn't really gotten down for what it needed to look like from a recording standpoint. Right? Remember, I was new to YouTube back then. This is 2020. We started our YouTube channel in late 2020, like August maybe of 2020, when we were running through the same problems at 3D Musketeers. So we decided to start a podcast, this podcast, all about dealing with the common problems that we run into. Then it turned into a YouTube channel, and damn it, here we are, 27 or 28,000 subscribers later. John Stern says, was the epidural when you were in labor? God, it felt like I was in labor. Jesus, it was so bad. Look, you know how when people will jokingly wish pain upon their enemies? I don't wish this pain upon anybody. I don't wish chronic pain upon anybody. Now, slightly damp socks for the rest of their life? Maybe. Chronic pain? No. Ronnie is asking what were my injuries. So he was asking if it was L3, L4. I'm L4, L5, L5S1. So basically right at the small of your back. Think tramp stamp region. That's where my injury is. Actually a little bit below that, but nonetheless. So workers' comp is involved, and that means I have to follow their plan. They have me go into doing physical therapy. I got 6 chiropractor visits in 2 weeks, and it was the most amazing thing that's ever happened. But that's all I got. Chiropractors were pretty much the only thing that kept me moving. And unfortunately, as soon as workers' comp was involved, I had to stick to the plan, which was going to get physical therapy, going to the doctor. I think it was every couple of weeks. Um, yeah, I think it was every couple of weeks I had to go to the doctors. It was relatively often. And my doctor was pretty far away, about a 45-minute trip each way. But the one doctor visit I won't forget was the one where he said, I can't do anything more for you. I think you have cauda equina, which for those that know Latin means horse's tail, which is ridiculous. So cauda equina syndrome will kill you. And if he honestly thought I had cauda equina, I would have been dead by then, because I was dealing with this for over a year at this point, I think. I would have to find my records to see how long it was that I was dealing with this before he claimed cauda equina. He sent me to the ER. So I went to the ER, and I spent 9 hours in a hospital. Now, I apparently get claustrophobic when I can't move. And I'm stuck to a bed, I can't move, it wasn't fun, all these... Like, all the things hooked up to me, I don't really care about, but I'm a bitch with needles. I hate needles. I vago out. For those medical professionals, I'm sorry. And for those that don't know what that means, it means my blood pressure tanks around needles, and I have a tendency to pass out. Not that that's ever caused me injuries before. So I'm at the hospital. I get 4 different MRI and CT scans. So I'm sitting in these machines. I don't really care about that. They're noisy. I don't really care about that. And they show me about the magnets. That was cool. The doctors were always really cool about me wanting to learn more about the machines I was going in. 9 hours later and 19,000 US dollars later, I'm discharged with nothing. Like, yep, you've got disc damage. Cool. Nothing you didn't know when you walked in here. You don't have cauda equina. Get out of the hospital before you get sick. So I left. And, yeah. That was, yeah, Madcat says that's all got off cheap. Well, thankfully, that bill came to me, but workers' comp covered it because their doctor told me to go. So, there's that. Now looking at all of it, that was a lot of money. Now, I had a lot of radiology work. And in fact, we have a radiology person in our Discord, and I sent him all of my CT and MRI stuff because I have it still. And the cool thing is I was actually able to generate a model. The problem is disc and fat tissue are roughly the same density, so it's really, really hard to segment them. It's easy to segment the bone. That is really simple. Using Invisalius or 3D Slicer, but it is really tough to get the discs. And yours truly here's got a fair bit of extra weight around the middle. Especially since I really wasn't able to work out. I couldn't go walking. Like, when I worked this day job, I would eat out basically every day for lunch. I was making enough money where I could afford that. But a lot of times I go get a sub from Publix. I'd eat half it, put the other half in the fridge. But when I would be eating it, I would walk around one of the lakes. I worked in Lakeland. There's a lot of lakes there. And I would walk around one of the lakes. It was about a 1.5 mile walk to get around it. And if I had extra time, I'd do another lap. There were always some outdoor kitties that I would stop and pet. And the swans, I hated them. They're terrible. Swans are terrible. I don't care what you think. Swans are terrible. They're long neck geese. Okay, it's rough. But I missed all of that because like that's how I kept in shape. I would do some walking. It might be a little brisk, right? And then I would walk back to my job. I would get about 5 to 6 miles a day of walking. So I was getting relatively decent exercise. So, Esco says, the fact that medical treatment is so expensive in the U.S. blows my mind. It's all private, right? Yeah, it is. So it's all private. So most of the hospitals here are for profit. There's a few that are not for profit. But most of them are for profit. Now, to be clear, 19 grand is just the we don't give a damn about you money. It's the weird thing. Hospitals are one of the few places where the bill that you get is negotiable. Never pay the bill the hospital gives you. Tell them, I can't pay this. I don't have insurance. I can't pay this. And you can either get this amount or I can declare bankruptcy and you get nothing. You decide which one you want. It is a silver bullet for getting tons of money off of your bill. But this is America, and this is what we have to deal with. We care more about people dressing up like a different gender than we do overpriced healthcare and children dying in schools. But I'm not getting into that today. As a Florida man and someone that even I have a shooting gallery in my backyard, we have the wrong priorities here in this country. But I am not getting on that podium today. These experiences were some of the most painful ones in my life. And traumatizing is probably the best way to describe it. Because you ever been poked in the back with something sharp? And you've ever had that stuck in your back and then jiggled around? No? Let me tell you, it's not fun. Let me tell you, it's not fun. Sun Total Camper says healthcare should be free and a human right for everybody. Maybe. I think that there should be a base level that is free, that covers 99% of what could go wrong. There should be an option to get a premier level of healthcare. If you want to pay extra for it, you can either skip a line, go to private doctors, whatever it might be. There needs to be, in my opinion, another way for people that have the amount of money, that don't want to go to regular care, to get the extra care that they want or at the speed that they need. Right? Anyways, there should be some level of free healthcare, though, and the fact that we don't have it is ridiculous. The fact that insurance is so expensive here in the United, I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on. Grant, I can rant about this shit for hours, and I'm not going to. We're just gonna move on. This brings us to, at some point, I ended up needing to get an attorney involved. And I think it was after the Cauda Equina situation where I got an attorney involved. I was doing my best not to get an attorney involved because, honestly, I was just trying to be nice, right? I really liked this day job. I wanted to get through this injury, get better again, and go back to work. And realize, as soon as you really get an attorney involved, you're not going back there again. It's not happening. Unless it was like a wrongful termination thing, then maybe you go back, but you don't want to go back. So you end up taking a pretty hefty settlement. This was not a wrongful termination issue. This was a workers' comp issue. And I needed help. I needed a professional to sit by me and assist me for what I was doing. Because realistically, if I didn't have that, we would have problems, right? I did not know how to properly really navigate these waters that are shrouded in mystery. To be clear, the whole system around workers' comp is about 700 pages. And if you miss even one page during your reading, you will miss what is likely incredibly important legalese that you as an individual probably don't understand anyways. So it made sense to get an attorney. Fun fact about personal injury lawyers in Florida. A lot of them claim that we don't get paid unless you win. And people are like, wow, they really care. No, that's the law. They don't get paid unless they win. That's literally the law. That is how injury lawyers work. They take a percentage of the earnings. So whatever, and then if the case never ends, they don't make any money. They're doing all of this work up front for free. And the idea is that they take a percentage on the back end, right? And for certain cases, it's higher. For others, it's not. When you go above certain dollar values, that number gets cut down. There's a whole formula for how it's done. Look it up. But at least here in Florida, you don't pay us unless we win is literally the law. It's literally the law. And I didn't know this, and so I learned about it. My attorney, great guy, absolutely love him. Highly would recommend him again. He was, and I literally pulled up the Florida bar. I looked for the type of attorney that I needed, and I started calling every one of them. I started with, AA and went down my list, right? And the first one that, the first ones that answered, I would talk to him. You kind of get an idea. This guy was like, you got some time? I'm like, yeah, I got a few minutes. He's like, all right, I'm going to send you a Zoom link. He got on a call with me. We talked, man to man, right? Over Zoom, and I felt comfortable. And I'm glad, because turns out he actually has worked with this workers' comp company before, so it worked out well. And I guess we got a lot of congratulations. What's going on here? Abacus Mackey says, hi, I've been listening to your podcast every day on my way to uni. I started my 3D printing business in Iraq and Baghdad. Thank you for the amazing content. Dude, congratulations. Good job on that. I'm sorry that that's how you choose to spend your day into uni, because these are kind of odd sometimes, especially this one. But hey, congratulations. Good luck on the business. That whole area, the Middle East, is really, really prime for someone that wants to get into doing regolith 3D printing or 3D printing with soil. You guys have a lot of sand out there. And that sand is really easy to 3D print with a couple of different additives. I would highly recommend that you look into that, because getting funding for it as well from the state or from private investors out there that want to do like luxury homes but don't want to pay the regular rates to get it done, they would be the type of people that would be great, amazing clients for you. So if you are really looking to go deep into additive, look into the world of like concrete and sand printing, because there's a lot of opportunity there, especially in areas that have a lot of sand. Dirt is tougher. Sand is a lot easier to print with. Eskimo said, didn't Mark Cuban start a pharmacy which sells drugs for a reasonable price? Yes, it's called Cost Plus Drugs. The problem is, a lot of the drugs that I use, that sounds weird, a lot of the medicines that I need are not covered by that. So currently, I am on a sprightly diet of meloxicam and tizanidine. Meloxicam is an NSAID, similar to your Aleve. So the Aleve, naproxen sodium, very, very similar to that, but this is stronger and it doesn't hurt your liver. Which is funny, because I don't know why people just don't use this all the time. It's great. It's actually the only reason I'm able to sit here and do this podcast. I took one last night. The other one is tizanidine. That is a muscle relaxer. I have to be careful with that because it removes all fine motor control. Matt Cat says he's on diclofenac. I have diclofenac gel. And diclofenac gel with an ultrasound, my God, it's beautiful. If you don't have diclofenac gel and you've got access to an ultrasound, which you can get it, most chiropractors will have an option for ultrasound treatment. Put some of that in between. Oh man, that's the good stuff. John Stern says he's on polylactic acid. Same on that polylactic acid. Let's go. Yeah, Matt guesses I can't do muscle relaxers. They put me out cold. Yeah, they do for me as well. But there are some days where it's like, you're either going to be sitting here crying in pain or you're going to be a useless human being. Choose which one you want. So yeah. Anyways. So we have attorneys involved now, and now that means we have to go through and get tests done. What I learned was a spinal tap. I forget the name of the procedure, but you can actually go back and find it. There's a podcast episode where I'm not on camera. I started on camera, and I had such a headache, I had to lay down. This was the only medical procedure I was not allowed to film, and it was the only one that I regret not setting my foot down saying I will film this. It was a lumbar puncture, but I forget what they called it. It was something more technical than a lumbar puncture. But this freaking doctor comes in, he's in a golf polo and shorts, and says, you can't film in here. And I'm like, oh, fine, whatever. I was so loud that Amber tells me that you could hear me through the door that protects for radiation, like the lead doors that they have, and the steel and lead doors that protect the outside world from the X-ray and MRI and CT stuff. Yeah, I'm loud. I'm a real loud sumbitch, okay? Really, really loud. And I was not willing to be quiet in that. That was one of the most painful procedures of my life. The nurses there said, you might have a mild headache that'll last for a day or two. It was literally the worst headache of my life for 9 days. So here's what happened. I got a spinal tap. They poked a hole in my spinal column, and the fluid that is in your spine was draining. That spinal fluid is required for brain function. And when your brain gets dehydrated, it puts you into a state of migraine. It basically forces you to shut down, because if you continue to work, you can have brain damage. And the only way to fix this problem is to elevate you so that you don't drain out of the hole anymore and the fluid goes back into your brain. And Ben Cox says overpriced diclofenac is called Voltaren. Yes, Voltaren gel is diclofenac. John says, actually, I'm on acronitrile styrene acrylate. It's ASA. Macca says they could do a blood patch to fix that. Well, I didn't know. And I was in so much pain. Are you good over there, Bamboo? Quit making noises. I swear to God, that Bamboo makes more noise. The Prussias run just fine. Friggin' Bamboo makes all these damn noises. Anyways. Yeah, I should have gone back and get it patched up, but by the time we realized that it was a problem, it was starting to get easier. If you go back, I think it was July of 21. Maybe? I've done videos with it. I have no idea. God, it's now gonna bother me. When I got that procedure. It was one of the most painful procedures of my life. I should have had like an antidepressant, or I should have had like a Xanax going into that, because boy howdy, that was a really, really rough procedure. That just only further proved that the damage was there. They're like, yep, it's there. I'm like, I know. I knew this before I came in. I don't know why we're doing all of these, but it's a requirement. Eventually we have to go get a nerve test done, because ultimately I'm not doing well. I'm still having issues walking. I look like a newborn giraffe, just like all spaghetti legs, right? We get an EMG nerve test, which was a doctor who I firmly believe was enjoying it way too much, tasering me for a few hours. And, oh yeah, they're sticking needles into my nerves while they tase me. It's fun. And because it's my legs, it's basically occurring from, I'm like leaning back like you can see things, from my waist down, okay? So they're putting needles into all the areas that you have nerves close to your skin. And they're measuring the electric impulses from those nerves. These nerves include right on the top of your leg, right on the back of your knee. Imagine a needle going into the back of your knee and then getting tased. Just imagine what that feels like. Let me tell you, it's not great. And again, I'm yelling because it hurts like hell, right? And at the same time, you're convulsing. Not as much as I was expecting, because the receptors aren't firing properly. Well, they're firing properly, but the nerve impingement, so the disc is hitting nerve, okay? And that is it's basically like pinching off a water hose, right? So only some water is getting through. So we're not getting the full signal. So my muscles are still convulsing, but I can't tell. I can't feel it. Johnson says it's like a voodoo doll bypassing the doll bit. Yeah. Yeah, basically. Yeah. 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 It's not fun. And those that have had it, so Mad Cat's had it for carpal tunnel. I had it in my legs, and this lady enjoyed it way too much. I was yelling so loud when I left. I apologized to everybody in the waiting room. This is a normal doctor's office, so these walls are not insulated. I am yelling so much. I am apologizing to people in the waiting room. I could hear the staff telling everybody that it's okay, he's fine. And I'm like, I'm not fine. I'm being tased. Yeah, it wasn't fun. And all of this to fully continue to prove that I've got an injury. It's not going to go away. This is actually going to be probably the first podcast that I don't do any cut downs for. Oh, well. I think this one, I really don't want this to be something that you can listen to 60 seconds of what I said. So I think this one makes sense to not have any cut downs for. We'll record the whole thing, but I don't think I'm going to do a cut down of it. Also, Zoom didn't work again. Zoom has not been working properly with OBS. I don't know what's going on. Turn Grant Canadian. Yeah. Well, so we still know, hey, he's still damaged. He's still damaged goods, right? He's still damaged goods. And unfortunately, there are some bad things that occur with chronic pain, right? Your life is so enveloped with just trying to minimize your pain, you lash out on people. And Amber took a lot of that brunt, and God bless her, she stuck through it. It was not easy, right? I reclused from everybody because doing anything really hurt, right? I don't talk to basically anybody that I did prior to the injury because I don't know. Like, I couldn't go hang out with them. I couldn't do anything with them. I couldn't go dancing anymore. I couldn't go kayaking, and nobody really wants to be associated with a Debbie Downer all the time, right? And that's not really who I am. Johnson, if he was Canadian, he'd be printing PLA. That's actually pretty good. Esco says spine and joints are the worst areas to get an injury, talking from experience. Yeah. My life is very different. My whole outlook on life is different. Right? And growing out my hair, we had originally done that for Brad. We were going to shave it and donate the money to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but ever since everything with Sanjay, we've decided that that's a worthy cause as well. Make-A-Wish has got lots of donors. Sanjay Mortimer Foundation doesn't, and we definitely want to do something about that. So we'll see. Pesla says chronic pain and illness is exhausting for everyone involved because you're not you, and you have that added pressure to live up to the who people think you are. Dude, fucking preach, Liz. Like, that is, I don't think I could have said that better. It changes you. And not for the better. To be very clear, when you are first dealing with chronic pain, you are not the person that you were. And if those around you don't know this, they will leave you. I've had friends that don't talk to me anymore because of who I was when I was first dealing with this. And, God, it makes me sad because I'm sure I could probably revitalize those friendships, but they've never checked on me. They've never reached out to see how I was doing. And that hurts. Because at the time, my entire life was just my injury, my injury, my injury, my injury. Because it ruled when I woke up, when I went to sleep, how I slept. It ruled if I could leave the house or not. And I would love to get into the details of some of the crazy things that happened with workers' comp, but I can't. So we'll just get into, it got rough. It got really, really rough. And it was early in 2022 where everything was settled. So I am free of workers' comp. There's no workers' comp involved anymore. And I don't know. I would say that things are getting better, but I think a lot of it is a mindset change. And understanding that this is my new life, and if I can't make the best out of it, then I'm kind of done for. So I don't like checking bags when I go travel for a couple of days, because if they lose your bag, it's just a pain in the ass. So I packed everything that I needed into a backpack. What I didn't realize is that backpack was almost it was almost 50 pounds. The briefcase with the Eva in it weighs about 15. So I'm walking through airports. I did almost 9 miles on Saturday, carrying an extra 75 pounds. Or 60, whatever, 70 pounds, whatever it is. It was not easy. And it reminds me that, nope, you're still broken. And it sucks. It sucks. Ronnie says, in the winters, thanks to the cold that gets into your back, getting up out of bed, your back will kill you and will determine your day. Well, yeah, I mean, that's fair. We don't really have those cold winters in Florida, but yeah, Mad Cat says, next time bring someone with you. The clients don't pay for that. They will pay for me. They're not going to pay for somebody else. Next time I just have to prepare better and put non-essentials and bring less camera gear. I brought a lot of camera gear so I could do my best job at filming this. Now that we're much more serious for YouTube, like I should go get the bag. I POV mounted a camera to the strap of my bag so that as I was walking around town, I could have a POV camera with me. It was pretty cool. I have no idea how the footage came out because it's a Sony action cam. It's waterproof, so I don't know if the audio is any good. I assume it's not. But yeah, that was a thing. So we'll see how any of that goes. Soon TM. I don't know if we're going to end up posting those videos because unfortunately, I never got to do anything cool 3D printing while I was out there. Ronnie says, tip, use those trolley bags. Even my laptop bags are trolley bags. Yeah, I have to look at doing a better job with my bags and how I pack and what I pack and all that. That's a future grant problem. So, yeah. Pezzle says, people lack the compassion, empathy, and don't give you grace to navigate these things, cycle through friends all their lives. Oh, okay. That's a statement. Sorry. Johnsters, let me know if you want to go for 50% off. We should talk about that. I would love. So my Sony action cams are older. I have an AS15 and an AS300. I actually got them from another YouTuber who was selling them for cheap. Yeah, I would love some GoPros. I've thought about going to GoPros for cameras, so we should definitely talk. Can we see the camera gear that you use? I could do a video about that one day, I guess. I don't really know how I would do it, but I'm sure I could. This is a Canon Vixia camcorder, which is fun because I can do things like this. And that's real digital zoom. Or optical zoom, sorry. Real optical zoom. Which is fun. This is a Samsung Q2U microphone. These lights are all fake. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I should do a gear video. That would be fun. It's funny because our B-roll camera is actually one of our better cameras. But our main cameras are normally Osmo Pockets. So when I travel, I use an Osmo Pocket from DJI. But I would love to look at converting over to GoPro. We'll have a sponsorship. That'd be cool too. Banshee Boy 78 says, in 2014, I was in a bad ATV accident and became a T7 paraplegic. I was in ICU for a month. I lost people who I thought were friends. Thanks to my family, and 3D printing kept me sane. I don't know. I've built a pretty rough hobby with 3D printing that I've decided to turn into a business. And like, to be clear, 3D Musketeers existed before this injury, and it will exist post it as well. But dude, that sucks. T7 paraplegic. That's not fun. I am so sorry that you went through that, dude. We're glad you're here. We're glad that you're here. And I will say 3D printing did a lot to help me. It helped me better understand my limitations. I did things like a custom printed cane handle. And because I showed it the other day, I'll show it here. You want to know the most Florida man thing ever? This is my old cane handle. You see those, or a cane handle, cane foot. You see all those marks on it? That's alligator teeth. That's alligator teeth. Welcome to Florida. There's a little baby alligator in the road, and we stopped to try to take care of it. I stayed in the car. Amber grabbed my cane and was trying to just like shoo the alligator off the road, and it was not happy. It was maybe 3 or 4 feet, but enough to really break your ankle. Then the cops show up because it's Florida, and that's what happens. They go to get the asp to move it, but Amber says, no, use the cane. And they get the alligator to bite onto the cane, and then they yeet the alligator into the ditch. It was so funny. But, it was like, keeping the alligator at bay with the cane. It was one of the most Florida man things you've ever seen. But yeah, my cane has been bitten by an alligator. There's your Florida man thing. And I still have it. It stays in my car. It is painted bright blue. It's actually painted company blue, which I found out is basically the same as Oasis blue from Rust-Oleum. So if you want to paint something that is 3D Musketeers blue, it's roughly Oasis blue from Rust-Oleum. I have a TPU 3D printed handle that I've used since I made it, which is pretty cool. And like that kind of stuff really helped, right? Because cane handles objectively suck. They're terrible. And we actually released that file open source in the video. I included the Fusion 360 file, so anyone that needed to adjust some parameters for their hand could. It was a thing. Pezlis says, I know a lot of people that find 3D printing therapeutic. Even when things break, they must not be bamboo owners. But the whole process and focus on something inconsequential but still creative and productive is great. You know, Liz, you are full of these like one-liners here today. These are damn good, Liz. Keep that up. That's really good. That's some really, really good advice there and some things to say. Apparently I'm getting tagged in my Discord because Ben says I didn't say hi to him. So hi, Ben. How are you? Although that was a few minutes ago. You're memorable, Ben. We love you. And you, sir, are waking up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to listen to me, which is firmly just one of the most ridiculous things ever. Why anyone would wake up early to listen to me just blows my mind. Johnster says, what's my Discord DM? How about this, John? Email me, youtube@3dmusketeers.com. If you email me, it's easier to do it that way, and then I'll get everything to you then. Les says, I live it. I hear people's stories every day with MakerDeck. I've had a few people say it saved their life. 3D printing is one of those things, and this community has brought me back, right? I won't lie. YouTube has been a lot of fun for me and has really helped me better normalize my injury. If you notice, there's only 2 times since I got rid of using my cane that you have ever seen me walk with my cane. In every video where you can see me and you can see my legs, you probably can't see my cane because we've removed it. We've thrown it away for the filming. We remove any time where I'm walking on camera because I never wanted to be seen walking with a cane. Because it was embarrassing to me. It was embarrassing that I went through this problem and I don't have a solution, right? People hire me to be a solutions provider. That's what we do. We are hired to solve problems. And I can't solve my own? Like, it's really depressing as someone who's designed to solve a problem. And unlike a lot of people, I have a modifier. My modifier is I have an identical twin. For those that don't know, I have an identical twin. So I've watched somebody who is perfectly, able, right? While I've been disabled. So I know what I was like because it was him. What my brother is what I was. And now I'm different. And so that's been a really, really, that's been a really crazy thing, to deal with that. Because it's like, you're constantly reminded of all of that. And like what you were like before your injury. And that is, well, it's hard. It's not John's fault, to be clear, right? It's not his fault I got injured. But yeah, I have to live with this living memory of who I was prior, right? So, yeah. Mad Cat says, why do you feel there's a stigma around a cane? Because there was. There was. People would start holding doors open for me. I was hobbling through Walmart and a woman pulled her kid away and says, watch out, honey, he's disabled. And while you're not technically wrong, screw you, right? I can walk around your kid. Your kid was being a little shit, but I can walk around her. And no one ever held a door open for me. If anything, it was expected that I held doors open for them. And when I would hold a door open for someone with a cane, someone would quickly say, no, I got it. You're good. It's okay. And I'm like, no, I can do this. Like, no, you're using a cane, man. I got this. I'm like, fine. I got accosted a lot before my cane. We were in Publix once. Yeah, Publix. Client, though, so I have to be a little careful about what I say about them. But Amber's carrying all the bags, and a guy yells, "Why don't you carry the bags and stop being a bitch?" And I said, "I've got a bad bag. Why don't you mind your own damn business before you make this a problem?" He said, "Why don't you just man up?" I said, "Why don't you just shut up? You don't understand what chronic pain is. You can go to hell." And we walked out of the store. I think that was literally when I decided I needed a cane. Also, fun tip. So I got stopped a couple of times by local PD, both in Rural King, which is interesting. But both of the times were in Rural King for suspicion of being drunk in public because I was hobbling around a store. Rural King is a redneck Walmart. Yes, it gets more redneck than Walmart. They sell chickens. It's a thing. And these cops were just trying to make sure I wasn't drunk, right? Because I was hobbling around. People were concerned about me. I had a mask on. I objectively looked like I was drunk. They come up, they ask, we're cool. I show them, nope, I've got an injury. I'm totally coherent, or as coherent as I normally am. I've never been drunk in my life. We're cool. There was a little bit further story with one of them, but I don't want to get into it today. It's just that tangents us off of the subject. Here's the deal. Use a cane. If you want to be drunk in public, wear a mask and use a cane. Nobody will bother you. There is your unethical life pro tip. I would still stumble around. I wore a mask, but I had a cane. So everyone saw me as disabled, not drunk. So there's your shitty life pro tip of the day. If you are trying to drink a little too much in public, something that you can do is use a cane. You know, because that's a move, I guess. Uh-oh. Oh, geez. That is not my internet. That was my computer. That was weird. Funny thing. Yeah. Anyways, I stopped being bothered by police after the cane. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah. I did say hi to Ben Cox. Go to hell, Ben. I knew it was you. Ronnie says you needed a cane at that moment to beat in his skull. Yeah. And so Macca says he's got a disabled placard, and he's just waiting for the day when someone tries to call me on it because I don't look disabled. I never got one. Ben, stop it. Stop saying their name. It's like saying DPT in here. You can't say that name. Then it's going to start to have problems. But yeah, like I was always like, I wouldn't want to take a spot from someone who was in a wheelchair, from someone who couldn't walk, someone that, maybe was more disabled than me. So I never got a handicap placard. I easily qualified for one, but I never got one because, my ego probably wouldn't let me, but yeah, Miss Victoria, she's moving. Oh, that was a little fly in my mouth. That was nasty. It was not a DDoS attack. My C drive just pinned for some reason, so it jittered a little bit. We're fine. But yeah, I never really wanted to take a spot from somebody who needed it more. So I said I can endure the pain a little bit. What is in my... Oh, it's a popcorn kernel. I had popcorn last night. Popcorn kernel. Okay. That was weird. Sorry, that's a little awkward, but hey, whatever. That's life. It's a lot easier when you're not the only person. But yeah, I never wanted to admit my disability, so I never got a handicap placard. I could probably still qualify for one. But the thing that really sucks is that if I go try to get a job, like go get a day job to make some cash to help supplement the YouTube channel or supplement 3DM. By the way, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all those proper things, comment, hang out in the live chat, whatever. We I don't know. I guess it's hard. I got bad knees too, but that was just from being an idiot when I was a kid. I just knew that I could endure the pain a little bit more for those that knew they couldn't, right? Like, Brad's on our team. He's been on a podcast, so I can talk about it. But Brad had stage 3 throat cancer, and you know, we always joke, right? Like, I was telling Brad, man, it sucks. I hate going to the doctor. I wish other people understood what it was like to always go to the doctor. And he just kind of blankly looks at me, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. You spent 3 months when you were like between 9 and 12 getting chemo. So you know it. And he just laughs. He's like, yeah, man, it's funny when people do that. And I remember I was at Amber's aunt and uncle's house. It was for a holiday that we were there. We were hanging out. And her aunt was complaining about her back, saying that her back hurts. No one really understands that. She says, oh shit, I am so sorry, Grant. I didn't even think about it. I said, no, it's fine. It's funny to me. I know your pain. Unfortunately, I know your pain all too well. And, you know, I get through a lot of this by making jokes and say, you know, I got injured at the best time. Nobody else was doing anything in April of 2020 anyway, so if I was going to be disabled and not really able to do anything, objectively, you kind of chose the right time. I wasn't missing out on any really fun adventures that I would have been doing otherwise. I didn't miss out on any major life things during that time. I am now because though I don't talk to those people anymore, and those people don't talk to me anymore, but yeah, I mean, that's how I get through it, because otherwise it's like, that was my D-Day, right? That was the day that everything changed, and I'm living with a demon that I can't get rid of. Now, there is an option. Surgery is an option. But they run like an 85 to 90% success rate. And you might say, well, that's not bad. That means 1 in every 10 isn't good. And they can do like 20 a day. So, no, it's not. It's actually not all that good. Yeah, it's difficult. I guess if it goes wrong, it shouldn't go really wrong. And you'll leave with just a little bit of a hole in your back, and you're really no worse off than you were. If it goes really, really wrong, you can lose the ability to walk. But generally, you leave with, maybe you're not 100% better, but you're a few steps better. And I've always been afraid of it, because if I do get injured in a way that means I can't walk anymore, 3D Musketeers will cease to exist. And I've been trying to do my best to remove what in the business world we call the hit by a bus problem. Which is, you know, if I get hit by a bus, the company ceases to exist the next day, because there is nobody that can do everything that I do. So, yeah. Oh, this is fun. Ben is giving me a really cool segue. Eskimo says, how did you get injured, though? I tuned in late. It was a work-related injury where I sustained bilateral disc herniations, L4, L5, L5S1, with north of 6mm herniation. That's north of 1/4 of an inch for all you Americans, with marked nerve impingements. That means I have less feeling in my legs. So, yeah. So, I'm waiting for tech to get to where they can 3D print some new vertebrae and swap them out. They can already do that. In fact, I've held replacement vertebrae 3D printed in titanium. And it's not my vertebrae that's the problem. It's the disc. The disc is the problem. And if you do get a full disc replacement, it's often either cadaver disc or pig disc. They use disc from pigs. I'm not at that point. They want to do to me what's called a discectomy, which is they basically just take a knife and they just cut the disc down. But that disc will never heal and it will forever be degraded, right? Eskimo says, what about stem cells? Those are not covered by insurance here in America. So that is out of pocket. We'd be looking at about $6,000 to $7,000 to do it here. But a lot of people actually choose to fly to Colombia because Colombia has some of the best stem cells on the planet. And it's actually cheaper to fly to Colombia, take a great little vacation, try not to get abducted by cocaine drug lords, and get the stem cells, then fly back. It is actually cheaper to do that. And it is considered experimental by insurance companies, and therefore they do not cover it. We've looked at stem cells, we've looked at platelets, and at one point I did reach out to some of the companies that were kind of known for it to see if we could do a video series, because this would be really cool. Like, I've asked my chiropractor, I've asked all kind of the doctors that I work with now, can we do a video series of how I come in versus how I leave? And we just kind of update every single time. We make a separate channel about this, but we do it all about my road to recovery and what that looks like. Because I'm so comfortable around cameras and comfortable describing things via nothing but audio. I think that would make for some really compelling content and a really interesting marketing strategy for these companies. But yeah. Eskimo says, 7K to have your life back. That's a no-brainer if you ask me. That's an interesting problem. It is not a guarantee, and they're not, they don't last forever. You will need to get it done every few years. They say normally every 3 to 5 years you need to get it done. And that is very expensive. That starts to get expensive. John also says, why does the company always use hit by a bus? I heard that 100 times at my company. Why always a bus? Can we just say, what if blank retires early after winning the lottery? Well, if you retire early, you can bring someone in to replace you, right? You know that's happening. When you win the lottery, you have the ability to do all of that, right? You can set up and put people in the place. Hit by a bus is unexpected. Right, it's an unexpected thing. Freak accident, if you will. Midlife Chaos says, oh, that's a great name. Love that name. Midlife Chaos says, I was told that they won't do a multiple disc replacement, only one. Yeah. Mongen73 says, what painkillers are you on? Oh, that's a fun one. The answer is none. And I was denied pain management because I refused Dilaudid. I refused Dilaudid in the hospital, and because of that, it was used against me to deny me all pain management. I understand why they did it, because they can legally do it, but it's not fun. Johnson just got to go, going out with the family. See you later, dude. Have a good one. Enjoy your day with the family. Don't forget to call your family today, people. Like, a lot of your family probably celebrate Easter. Give them a call. Make sure they're doing okay. But since I refuse Dilaudid, which is the second strongest opioid that we give people, because, well, I don't want to get addicted to opioids. Now, it's not a guarantee that you'll get addicted. But if you do get addicted, you've got a problem, because then it becomes drug-seeking behavior, and then I could be kicked off of workers' comp for that. So I said the downside outweighs the plus side. So have to be very careful about how we do it. Oh shit. Joseph Greiner, $50. My gosh, for Grant's Columbia Vacation Fund. Actually, I'm going to put that toward the Sanjay Mortimer Rep Rat Festival Fund. We are trying to get out there. If we can get a title sponsor for that, then I will take that money and put it toward some sort of recovery effort that we do for the back. But thank you for the 50. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for all your support, right? Uh, you guys are helping to support my back. Oh, that's a terrible way to say it. Thanks for all the back support. You've got my backs. Uh, but no, seriously, thank you, Joseph. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, I wanted to avoid opiates, right? You know, being with an ICU nurse and hearing the stories of drug seeking behavior and actually seeing somebody overdose on opioids. I've seen it happen in the parking lot of the hospital. So I used to work right near Amber's hospital. So when Amber was working, she loved this. I would drive her in. I would work Amber's hours. Greg says, yo, a $50 super chat that wasn't even for me. Hell yeah. Yes, Greg. Normally Greg's the one dropping the big dimes in here. But yeah, so every day that Amber would be working, I would bring her lunch. Every one of her coworkers was jealous, and it was just funny to me, right? I got to spend my lunch with Amber, but I also worked her hours. So I would do a 7 to 7. So I would drive in. She could get to sleep a couple extra minutes. It was like a 45-minute drive each way. But for me, it was also I reduced my gas bill because I would drive her car in, which was convenient, right? So I put less miles on my car. She put the same amount of miles on her car that she would normally have, but she had a chauffeur. It was convenient. It worked. And those days, I would always do my lunch with Amber. One of those days, I'm leaving the hospital, and I round a corner, and I hear a thud. And I look, and there's a guy on the ground, and he ain't moving. And there's a nurse coming back from her lunch, says, I am not even on the clock. Damn it. And she calls in a code. They bring a crash card out. This guy is clearly overdosing on opioids, so they're asking for Narcan. They look on this cart. They don't have it. They call for a Narcan cart. They call the police. The police show up. The police didn't have any Narcan. They finally get the Narcan cart out, and they're just doing chest compressions. I have never seen real chest compressions done before, right? You see the ones in the movie where they're just like hitting somebody, right? They're just kind of like, you might as well be slapping him. I swear that this woman was about to do a fatality move. She could have grabbed this guy's spine, right? These are like, her hands are disappearing into this guy's chest levels of chest compressions. He is blue. His buddy is just saying, it's not opioids. He doesn't need Narcan. And she looks over to him and says, I just called for a Narcan cart. How did you know that Narcan fixes opioids? She's sassy. This nurse was funny. And as that's occurring, Amber hears the code come through and is like, oh, God damn it. Grant's out there. What did he do? And she looks out and she can see me. So she knows I'm okay. And I'm like trying to keep people away, right? The nurses are doing their job. I'm keeping people away. I'm doing my job as a bystander to keep the crowd of people away. They finally get the Narcan. They hit this guy with Narcan and he jumps up. This man was blue. He was getting chest compressions. As far as I'm concerned, he was dead. They hit this guy with Narcan. He jumps up like he's the second coming. That's a terrible thing to say today, but hey, we're doing it. He jumps up and he is not very happy because he was having the time of his life. He was dying, but he was high as a kite. And Narcan violently removes opioids from your system. And I never wanted to find myself in a situation where I would be addicted to something like that. It's taken a family member from us. It was a cousin of mine. That's actually where the cat gets her name from. I'm not going to go too deep into that. That's way too personal, but the cat is named after somebody in my family that unfortunately lost a fight with opioids. Because opioids are no fucking joke. Opioids, not even once. I would rather continue to go through all this pain that I do and did. It was much worse back then than even risk dealing with opioids. Okay, I'm sorry. You don't mess with opioids. Yeah, and as Banshee Boy 78 says, CPR is done so hard it cracks ribs. Yeah, it can. Narcan gets you back to reality in the most rapid method possible. Yeah, it is literally a snap back to reality. I have never seen someone just wake up from what I thought they were never going to wake up from. Yeah, Narcan is crazy. Yeah, that's a fun story of why I will never use opioids, because that kind of shit is interesting. Oh, Ben Cox has got a funny opioid story for the Discord. Yeah, we have an entire channel in our Discord dedicated to like tales from work, you know, tales from the ER, that kind of stuff. Damn it, it's Karen says snap back. Did he just say that? That's exactly what I said. Eminem, mom spaghetti, and such. But yeah, opioids, not even once. So yeah, no painkillers for me. In fact, I actually found that I needed antidepressants, right? Remember, my life changed. And I got back on therapy, something hard, right? And yeah, I finally got tested for ADHD. Go figure. I've got it. And I can now start treating that and working with it and, you know, learning to live life with it and now learning to weaponize it. Weaponizing ADHD is really useful. But, dude, this shit sends you into a deep depression. And nobody tells you that a chronic injury or chronic pain is going to make you depressed. But let me be the first to tell you, it is going to make you depressed. Your life is different. You are not going to like it. And you're going to wish you didn't live it anymore. And it's because I'm someone who really kind of dictates the way that I do everything, right? Like, I make my own decisions. Ronnie says, we could have told you have ADHD without the test, man. Well, in America, you can't get treated for it unless you get the test, which was 6 hours of math. Hated it. But it was worth it because it means that I get the diagnosis, and the diagnosis means that I can start kind of treating it. Anyways. Ben is in our Discord. I can't even say that. I can't even say that. That's funny. Worst Peter says Lexapro gang. Anyone know Lexapro? Also, gentlemen, do not take trazodone. Look at its potential side effects and remind yourselves why you shouldn't take trazodone. So, gentlemen, if you're taking trazodone, get off of it. It can do issues with the nether regions that might require surgery. Don't take trazodone, gentlemen. Anyways, antidepressants were needed because my life was spiraling. My business was going downhill because I wasn't able to be there. And I work out of my house. This is my house. Okay. So it's like 40 feet to my bed. Okay. But there are days where I couldn't get to here. And if it wasn't for this podcast, this is a lost day. I will not be able to do any work today. I can switch over prints and all of that, but I can't do printer maintenance. I can't really do any hardcore filming. I can't go film on our standing set today. It's not happening. And if it's not for my Herman Miller Aaron, which I bought with my own money, found it at a yard sale. Found 5 of them for $100 a piece at a yard sale. Yes, you can be jealous. They're 2018 vintage. Yes, you can be jealous. If it wasn't for this chair, I could not be here right now. Ronnie says, just heard my aunt died of cancer. Number 16 in the family, gone due to that effing disease. Dude, let me be the first to say, fuck cancer. Fuck cancer. And to those of you that are dealing with cancer, that have family members that are dealing with cancer, I wish you the best. My mom's been dealing with it for a while. Maybe we'll talk about that on Mother's Day. I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But we've had family members that have me. My uncle passed a few years ago from pancreatic. Yeah, right? No, it's colorectal cancer. Colorectal cancer. Yeah, cancer's a bitch. And Ronnie, man, I'm sorry. I'm at a loss for words, which you guys should know is not common here. It is very difficult to lose a family member, but you know, Ronnie, we're here for you. You can email me directly at youtube@3dmusketeers.com. It goes directly to my inbox. So if you want to talk, shoot me an email, or if you want, go to my website, go to the Contact Us page. There's what doesn't look like a button, but is a button that says book a free consultation. Book it. That'll book 25 minutes in my calendar. When I see it's you, I'll extend it to an hour, and we can just have a chat. I'm here for you, buddy.
Why'd Karen say F? Oh, F's in the chat for cancer. That's why. Okay. Yeah, F's in the chat for cancer. 100%. John also says, Herman Miller chairs. I remember when a friend's office was chock full of them. Dude, it's the only reason that I can be here right now. I am in so much pain. I am in so much pain from that trip. Yeah, Ronnie, I'm sorry, dude. That's never easy, right? And, you know, I've always wondered if we are getting cancer more often or if we've just gotten better at detecting it, right? Because 30 years ago, people would just die. We didn't know why they died. They just died. Did they have cancer? I don't know. I'm sure that with some of the synthetic stuff that we use and, you know, if your water isn't good or you live in East Palestine, Ohio, right, that cancer will be more prevalent because of things like that. But I really wonder if cancer is getting worse or if we're just better at detecting it. Mongen73 says, were you ever ashamed for having depression? I guess. I don't know. I've always been very pro mental health. You guys will know that about me. If you've known me long enough, you've been here long enough, you know that I am incredibly pro mental health. In fact, we've had a therapist on this podcast. We've had a therapist come on here and talk all about imposter syndrome and that kind of thing. Nick Ange, you can go look it up. It's spelled Angers, Angers, but it's Ange. Go look it up. It's a great episode. And Nick is also a maker. So that's really, really cool. Actually, he's one of the organizers of the East Coast Rap Festival. So, yeah, was I ever ashamed? I was upset. I'm ashamed that I'm injured. I'm not ashamed that I have depression because of it, because that's normal, right? That's totally normal. And I've tried different antidepressants. I actually find that I don't want them because they change too much about me. I take a somewhat of a stimulant some days. Like I don't normally take them on the weekends because I am forgetful. And I will forget to go to the pharmacy to get medicine. So if I don't maintain a couple of spares, I'll run out, which is worse than forgetting. Yeah, I think Worse Peter puts it right. I was never ashamed for having depression, but I was ashamed of not being able to perform like normal. Like, I will lose days now because of pain, because I'm injured and I'm not really able to do what I should. That's why I'm ashamed. I'm not ashamed because I'm depressed because of it. I am ashamed because I'm not my old self. Russ with the 20, thank you, sir. You are an amazing human, and I'm bummed we couldn't get together. I totally understand why we couldn't, and I hope that things go well for you in the future, sir. Thank you again for the 20, and thank you for the printer that's on the way. The YouTube channel doesn't know about it yet. The Discord does. But there's a printer on the way from Russ that has some problems, and we're going to be fixing it live. So that'll be fun. Or we're going to try to fix it live. I don't know if it's going to go very well, but I'm going to try. Yeah, I am ashamed that I'm not me. I lashed out a lot. And I had some anger issues prior because men are not taught to have feelings. We are taught that our feelings start and end with anger. And that's not my dad's fault. Be very clear. That is just society's fault. That men are not really taught that we have feelings. It's called toxic masculinity. It is a huge problem, and we gotta fix it. So men, I'm talking to you man to man. I think it's basically 2/3 of our audience is men. If you are not currently talking to a therapist, talk to a therapist. Seriously. If you are in the state of Florida and you need a recommendation, hit me up. I will give you a few that I really like working with. If you don't have insurance, go to, oh God, what's the website? There's a website to get affordable mental health care. I forget what the website's called. Look up like affordable mental health care. It's a website. It's really cool. They have options for cash pay that are lower than what these people would normally advertise. It's a really, it's an interesting, it's a nonprofit. It's there to help people that want mental health care that can't get it. Anyways, yeah, it's go get your head fixed up, because having feelings is tough, but it is required. As Greg says, men are taught to be unfeeling pillars of stoicness. Yep. Mackie says Latin heritage. No, the Latin heritage makes me emotional. That's where the Grant rants come from. The Grant rants come from the Latin side of me. But yeah, if you're in America and you need something, please go see it. I am not speaking of BetterHelp. I do not use BetterHelp. I do not recommend BetterHelp. Oh God, I'm gonna look it up now. Because I want to know what it's called. I'll as soon as I find it, I'll let you guys know. Open Path. There it is. It's called Open Path. Openpathcollective.org. I'm gonna post it in the chat for you guys. So yeah, it is really, really cheap to get started with it. What I've done, it might be against their terms of service, I don't know, is the therapist that I find that I like, I'll set up an initial call through OpenPath, but then I'll see if I can just pay them directly. Because I'm sure OpenPath takes a cut. But because if they're gonna cut me a deal, I want to give them as much money as I can. So I go right to the person. Yeah, OpenPath is a great way to do it. Yeah, anyways, not sponsored, would absolutely accept a sponsor from OpenPath. And I would do it for very little money, because I believe we have a mental health crisis and we got to get that sorted. But it was something that was difficult for me to understand as well, that I needed to go get help. And when I was under the care of workers' comp, I couldn't. I can't get into why, but understand who workers' comp works for and why I couldn't do it. And as soon as I got done with workers' comp, I went back into therapy. Now, a lot of it was too little too late. I had burned a lot of relationships in my life. I had burned a lot of friendships, and I had caused irreparable damage to some. Unfortunately, that's life. And I'm doing my best to make amends and right those wrongs, but those people will always forever remember those wrongs more than they may remember the rights. And that means that those relationships may not ever come back. And that is a reality that I must accept, because I have no other option. Right? Eskimo says, gotta go. Thank y'all and have a great day. See you later, Eskimo. Be safe. John Olson says, sounds weird, but my mom and two sisters help me be the best person I can be. And I'm so happy for that. Right? Yeah, it's Manny M says, living with depression since my childhood, and it got worse to hell. Thankfully stable now because of meds that finally work. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, meds are the answer. A lot of times talking can do it. But no, if you do choose to go to meds, it's okay, right? But be wary of how they affect who you are, as well as what they do to you. Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into the medical side of things, but I've done a lot of research on SSRIs, SNRIs, your PAMs, which are your benzodiazepines, and just kind of understanding how they should affect me and understanding how they work and all of that, because I want to better understand how medicine should affect me before I take it. I'm weird like that. Ronnie asked, did Amber and I get together before or after this? Amber and I have been together for over about 6 years now, I guess. Yeah. So it was way before. Amber knew me. Amber and I met dancing. So Amber knew me well before this injury, and Amber was there with me the entire time. Kenneth asked, I talk about the Creality K1. No. And I'm probably not going to. If Creality would like to send me one, they can, but I'm going to rip it a new one. It's Bamboo Clone, and it utilizes Creality's cloud, which is bad. If you think my concerns with Bamboo and their data is bad, Creality has a known problem with this that has not gotten any better. So if you're going to give your money to Creality, just know whatever you're printing, they're going to keep. They're going to steal, and they're going to take. So don't give your money to Creality. I would rather see, you heard it here first. I'd rather see you go buy a Bamboo. I'd rather go see you buy a Bamboo than buy a Creality. I would. Straight up. I would. I can try to reach out to Creality to get one, but I would not be surprised if I'm blacklisted. Because, yeah, pretty certain I am. Alison Forrest says, talking works for me when it's happening, but in the UK, you only get a short course of taking therapy, so when it ends, I tend to plummet. Yeah, I'm paying out of pocket. So I'm paying out of pocket for therapy. So, yeah. I know it can be expensive. Sometimes employers will help out with that here in the States. Sometimes they don't. But I say if it costs you $40 to $50 a week, which open path you can generally get for around $40 to $50 a session, and you can do it for 6 months, right? So you're looking at, let's call it $50 a week, 4 weeks, $200 a month for 6 months, $1,200. If you can get yourself back in line for $1,200 and get your life back on track, it feels like a good investment, right? You'll spend more than that on a couple of good dates to make up for the wrongs that you've said or the things that you've done, when you could get ahead of it and be proactive and be better. I don't know. Obviously, to each their own. Grain of salt for everybody, but get it if you need it. Ronnie says, I had a blast with your Bamboo testing. Still sorry that you've gotten lemons, but we had a blast. Yeah, this one is better, but it's only running about a 70% success rate right now. It tends to fail for the dumbest reasons. OMG Franken says, spent 10 years on a med called Cipralex for depression. It allowed me to get over the hill and see the grass on the other side. Weaning off was a painful year of mushy brains and confusion. That is the thing you got to watch out for. You got to watch out for the come down of some of these meds. Banshee Boy 78 says, can't wait to upgrade my Mark 3S to a Mark 4. Mark 4 changes is perfect for my situation. And for a lot of people, it will be. I agree with that. So yeah, where does that leave me today? That leaves me today with an injury that I try to ignore, but will randomly prop up and be a problem. I've learned to mostly deal with the pain. It is pretty rough. There are days that I don't know how to deal. There are days where I feel like my old self. There are days where I won't be able to move. There are days where I'm depressed because of it. But what I know is my life is different. And I know that this chronic pain won't go away. Not without serious surgical intervention or, some sort of stem cell therapy. It is difficult. And I don't like it. But that is my life. And you got to play the cards that you're dealt. And you might have a shitty hand, but you got to play the cards they're dealt. And to be clear, I know that there are many people out there with way worse situations than me. I can still walk for the most part. While I might lose a day or two here or there, from outward, other than my long hair, I don't look like I'm injured. It is odd to know that To everybody else, I'm just a guy with long hair. To me, that long hair has a reason. It has a purpose. It's there. There's a reason for it, right? Yeah, it's there. And I will probably cry when we shave it. I will probably cry when we cut it off, we donate the hair, and I'll probably cry when we shave it. Now, this will be a live stream, and we're going to donate all the money to the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation. But, yeah, it's not fun. And because I don't have a day job, I don't have income, right? I don't take money from 3D Musketeers. We're still struggling in that regard, but that's okay. That happens, right? Ups and downs. It's part of the deal. So I've got Obamacare. It's great. I love it. It helps out. It's helped me get affordable care. So Affordable Care Act. Wow, it's actually useful. Who knew? But Mitch is saying being in a flexible work situation helps. Most employers only allow 2 weeks of PTO, even for being sick. My employer doesn't allow for a day of PTO. Victoria. She's the boss. We all know that. We all know the cat's the boss. So I'm always working. You could tell I haven't slept much in the past few days. I did not sleep from Thursday to Friday. I had 1 hour of crappy plane sleep from Thursday to Friday. From Friday to Saturday, I slept for 3.5 hours. And last night, I went to bed at 2, and I woke up around 8. So that was pretty good, I guess. Ash says in Alabama, ACA actually made it worse. My insurance is a joke. Yeah. Welcome to the Bible Belt, I guess, right? We do everything we can to help anybody that isn't upper middle class, rich, and white. And straight. I guess I should now add to that. And cis. It sucks, but welcome to the world. I wish I could do something about it, but I am just one man with a cat behind a camera who talks a lot. Friend is losing health care because he had to move to Tennessee. Wow. That's no fun. Ronnie says, I have to pack my stuff. Just received an alert of a missing person. Working in my spare time for a veteran search team that helps police search for missing persons. Ronnie, good luck and Godspeed, sir. I wish you the best. We need better help for our veterans. We need better help for just Americans in general, but I'm not. Capitalism is not good. There are some aspects of capitalism that is good, but capitalism overall is not productive for a community. And you might call me a socialist for that. I don't give a shit. I believe we should have open and free healthcare. I believe that we should be taxing people that make a ton of money. And I pay almost 30% in taxes. Almost 30% as a business owner. Making nothing. I pay almost 30% on the money that my company profits. That's a shitload of money. And I am considered below the poverty line. Okay? Stop taxing the poor. Let them help themselves. I'm not saying to put a 90% tax on the rich, but guess what? They can afford it. Oh no, they won't be able to buy another yacht this year. I'm so sad. This whole intermittent fasting thing has become a trend. You know what we used to call it? We used to call it being poor. It's not a trend. If you've been doing intermittent fasting because you can't afford food, now you're trendy. It's ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. I did pay more in taxes than Amazon did. I paid more in taxes than Trump did. I paid more in taxes than a lot of people did. Now, mind you, what Trump has done, what Amazon has done, what a lot of these big companies and big people have done, right? There are a lot of people, including the former president, that have not paid a lot in taxes. This system has enabled them to do it. They are not evading taxes. They are following the law to a T. The law enables amazing amounts of tax write-offs. And that's not okay. I believe that we should be looking at rebuilding it. Anyways, I'm getting too preachy here. What I'm trying to say is chronic pain sucks, and it changes your life. It changes who you are, it changes how you do things, and it changes the way that you look at everything. For years, if something fell on the floor, I couldn't pick it up. Amber had to get it. And if Amber was gone, it stayed there. The cat loved this because I have a tendency to drop food. Cat loves that part of it. Boxes. I got a delivery one day, and the boxes were stacked so high that I couldn't get into my front door. I had to go around to my back door, open my front door, and Spartan kick the boxes over so that I could get in and out of my front door. That's stupid, but that's what happens. My injury took away my hobbies. I was dancing all the time. We would go out kayaking a couple of times a month. My injury took all of that away. Gone. Instantly. And I've been told there might be a swing dancing thing going on at the after party at Rocky Mountain. So I might be doing that. But I'm afraid that I'm going to get hurt. So we're going to see what happens. Chronic pain is silent a lot of times. You don't see it. You feel it, but you don't see it. And for those that are dealing with chronic pain, no, I unfortunately feel your pain. And I wish I could fix it all for you. I can't. But I wish I could. I know technology is working towards solving some of these problems. And I hope that 3D printing can be on the forefront of solving those of us with disc issues and that kind of thing. I really do. Thomas with the basic member support. Thank you for joining, YouTube channel member. Thank you very much, Thomas. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for your support of the channel. And of course, if you guys do want to support YouTube, channel memberships, Patreon, we now have a PayPal option. Of course, you know, super chats and all that are also a thing. Greatly appreciate your support. But my story is unfortunately not unique. It is unique to a lot of you because a lot of you never knew. A lot of you didn't know that I was growing out my hair for charity. Here, it's curly, so I can try to, you know, pull it long, but it's got some good length to it. And, yeah, it's not fun. Chronic pain is not fun. Pezla says, I know how to pick things up with my feet because my dad had a workplace accident and broke both legs and hurt his back. So I didn't know people bent to pick things up. Yep. Joseph Grinder says, I believe that if the 50s were the time that people look back to as the golden age of America, then we need the unions we need the unions and tax rates at those times. Yeah. That's fair. It's fair. Ben Cox says, you mean you're not a drug dealer? I am not a drug dealer. Nope. Although I do deal in kilos. Do deal in a lot of kilos. And I got a lot of keys sitting here. I'm sitting on a fat stack of kilos, if you feel me. Gregory says, all right, now we got to know the price to have Amber straighten that hair. Oh my gosh, that's a funny story. So there was somebody on the Friday night maker chat, which occurs every Friday from 9 to midnight Eastern time. It's put on by Matt Stoltz, now the community director for Lightburn, former Prusa, but now Lightburn, where one of the members was just having a bad day. He's like, you know what would make my day better? And we said, what? He said, if Grant curled his hair. I said, all right. Next week we'll do it. He said, done. And so we put like real tight curls in my hair. It was really weird. It was really, really weird. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. I would straighten my hair. I don't have a straightener. I don't think Amber does either. Does Amber have a straightener? I don't think she does. But yeah, I could do it. I don't care. It's my hair's in dire straits anyways, because I have literally not cut it all. I have not had a trim, nothing, since August of 20. Yeah, August of 20. I have not cut my hair at all since. So, yeah. Kind of funny. Mad Cat is a member for 8 months. Thank you, sir. Preach it. Sending good info. Thank you, sir. Thomas gifted 1 member. Who got it? Duff got it. Duff got the membership. Thank you, Thomas, for gifting that membership. Greatly appreciate it. $20 for Greg Pfeiffer for the Straightener Fund. All right. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll have Amber do this at some point. Well, maybe I'll have to do a live stream in the garage, and Amber can straighten my hair in the garage. That'll be funny. Tesla says Amber's curls are too pretty to straighten. That's what I'm saying. Too pretty to straighten. Oh, man. Yeah, it's, injuries are weird. Now you all just want to make fun of me when we straighten my hair. Clothes irons will work too. No. Amber and I have actually been experimenting with different shampoo and conditioner for me, but Amber's been teaching me how to better get my hair to curl. Because it is curly, it's not straight. But my parents call me Matthew McConaughey. My business mentor thinks this is not a great look for me. He understands why I do it, but he thinks it's not a great look for me. But I don't mind it. It does suck for clogging drains, but there are worse things in the world. But I want you all to know that it's not always what you think, right? People are going through the hidden struggles that you may not see. And that's okay. Just because that you don't understand it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And help your fellow human. Help your fellow person. Help your fellow man. I know who said it somewhere. I missed it. Somebody said it. I think it was OMG Frankie that said if I ever needed to talk, I could reach out. Yep, Man-to-Man Grant. Love you, and if you need anything, I'm an open door. And, you know, I would extend that offer to anybody here. If you ever need somebody to chat to and you don't have something, you can email me. You can set up time in my calendar. Please don't abuse that, because if you abuse it, you ruin it for others. But, you know, please don't abuse that, because you will ruin it for others. But I really do... I want to make sure that if people need help or something, they can get it. Remen Line, welcome to the Discord. Please email me. I will get you that link. Just provide proof of the thing, and we can make it happen. As Liz says, start with kindness always. I'd rather be known for being kind than anything else. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Diano says, I will pay for the cut as soon as the charity starts. So we're going to end up cutting and donating, and then it will be a live stream. The live stream is going to be to raise money for the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation. The top 3 donors will get to shave whatever they want into the remaining bits of my hair. If we can raise over 15,000, you guys can take the beard, but no anti-Semitic thing. So you ain't putting the Hitler stash on me. Even so, there's a bit here that doesn't grow because I had an injury there. So no hair grows. But yeah, if we can raise over $15,000 for the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation, you guys can take the beard, and maybe I'll look like Mr. Clean. We'll see. And then you'll get to see all the weird head scars that I have. I want to help those that need help. And maybe that's why we're still doing Print Fix Friday. Maybe that's why I chose to do this today. The 3-year anniversary of my injury. It's just crazy. It's just really crazy. Denied by genetics. Yeah. Thomas says only above the waist though. Oh, you're a degenerate at heart. Yeah, no, you're getting neck up. You ain't getting anything below the neck for hair. Sorry, guys. Diodo says, can we convince you to grow a handlebar mustache? So fun thing. This is just longer hair. It actually doesn't grow much past here. This is just smooth. So A handlebar mustache would be really weird because it'll just be like these hairs here that are really long. So it's not going to grow in like a Fu Manchu or a handlebar like you would expect. And if this is 3 years of hair growth, imagine how long it's going to take to grow a handlebar mustache. So, you know. John Olsen's 70s porn stash making a comeback. Gosh, you guys would be the ones that say you want to put a pencil mustache on me. That would be funny. That would be funny. But, you know, honestly, where's Peter says, below the waist is included, and Grant gets that Manscaped sponsorship. You know, I would reach out to Manscaped among others, like that do trimming products above or below the waist for sponsorship of that stream, because then we cover all the production costs for it as well. So that would be funny. But if I can get everything to work out perfectly, and this involves like getting E3D on board, I would want to do it at the Sanjay Mortimer Rep Rap Festival. But if not, we'll do it some other time. But it's not lasting through the holidays this year. We are shaving before the holidays this year. It's happening. Can we shave the bamboo logo and Creality logo on your head? If you are the top 2 donors, go ahead. I don't care. It's going to charity. I don't care. And I will film videos with that hair all screwed up, so that it is there forever, and then I'll shave it. So then I'll shave it. Remen Line says, back 3D Musketeers, I want to help you too. I may have an idea to fix your issue. Well, I appreciate it. Dino says, a serious stash is proper for a musketeer. I have a crappy stash. It's really not great. So I guess Nero could be doing it too. Nero shaves the beard. Oh, Nero to shave his beard or Nero to shave my beard? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, guys, I'm gonna probably get going. My back is starting to hurt. That's why you see me fidgeting a lot, because I'm like trying to move to, you know, erase the pain, if you will. So I'm going to get going. I thank you all for hanging out. I know this one was, of course, convoluted toward the end, as they all tend to be, but that is my story of why I look the way that I do, why, you know, you'll hear me talk about my back. That's my story of my back pain. Of course, again, we'll put the 2 photos. That's the one with the medicine being injected into my spine with the bent needle. And that is just an x-ray of it with the needles basically showing where the damage is. So I've had these for a few years now. I have a whole book of all of my paperwork and the procedures that I've gotten. And I hope to one day be able to burn it, because that is, yeah, that'd be really cool. It'd be really cool to get past this and move on. But guys, if you celebrate Easter, enjoy your Easter. If you don't, go get cheap candy tomorrow. But that's it, guys. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. No matter who you are or what you go through, keep making awesome. Because awesome is your definition, not mine, not anybody in the comments. Awesome is defined solely by you. This has been my story. Season 3, episode 30. Take care.